The Conservatives are leading in all the polls, but not that much. However, 4 out of 5 Canadians want a new Prime Minister. John Capobianco is a big shot Tory, and he joins me right now because I want to put the question to you, and we've discussed this before, but changes almost every week. Your party's ahead in the polls, but still there's so many doubters, including Conservatives, who say he's far too brittle and far too to the right to win the next election, and yet most Canadians want a new Prime Minister. What is your leader, what is your party going to do in the next election to win?
Well, I think what you're going to see is Pierre Poilievre being true to who he is and what he's been able to do.
Some people say that's nasty, though, John.
Well, it's not nasty. It's actually contrasting what he can do versus what Justin Trudeau has been doing over the course of the last number of years as Prime Minister, and that is a big deal. And not only that, though, there seems to be a sense that the Prime Minister is losing touch with Canadians. Him and his caucus. You've seen the Marco Mendicino, issue with respect to the China affair, and the whole issue of about
everything that guy touches. It's a disaster.
I know, but still, that and the Paul Bernardo stuff, and of course the fact that he wouldn't sort of quit or fess up or resign. It's that entitlement thing that I think the Liberals tend to believe that they've got over Canadians, and that's not happening anymore. The biggest number that politicians and political parties fear is the decision to change, time for change.
Yeah.
And when you're seeing 80% of Canadians saying it's time for change, that's a big deal. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the leader of the opposition automatically becomes Prime Minister, but I think Pierre Poilievre and what he's doing and what he's trying to do by building this coalition around Canada is going to work for him in the next election.
Building what coalition around Canada? Because a lot of middle-of-the-road Canadians say, we may be Liberal, we may be the soft sort of red Conservative, but we don't see that in Poilievre. So what's he have to do?
Well, you know what, and that's always a myth to say that there's the blue Conservatives and red Conservatives. They exist, without a doubt. But there's a vast majority of Canadians who just believe that they want somebody who's going to change government and make government work for the better. And Pierre Poilievre is cutting through all the noise and all the clatter that's happening with the Liberals, and basically saying to Canadians, you vote for me, you're going to get somebody who's going to fight for you. Not unlike what the Fords have done in the city of Toronto and what Doug is doing in Ontario, but also what Mike Harris and Stephen Harper have done in the past, which is to say there are Canadians who are not the ones with the loudest voices, but they want a politician who has a loud voice who can fight for them.
What about the Trudeau challenge, which is that you, buddy, Poilievre, you've only been a politician your whole life. Poilievre came back and said, well, you were a drama teacher for half yours, but what about that charge, though?
Well, I think at the end of the day, politicians always get that. There's a number of politicians who have worked, in politics all their lives, who have become successful politicians. I think at the end of the day, it's what can you do as a leader to convince Canadians that you can actually make this country a better place to live, work, and raise a family.
Wow, we have to end on that. Of course, Winston Churchill did it about politics. John Capobianco. 3 minutes. This country needs bold and fearless discussion of the issues that are confronting it. And the Trudeau government is censoring the news and paying other news providers. So we need to keep going. Please subscribe and please donate generously. The crew needs to be paid.